Hello, Glam fam. It is so good to see everyone. I'm so happy to be here and I'm so thankful for everyone on the post. I'm just trying to get my computer screen together. So if you guys would bear with me for just a moment, I do have some things I want to chat with you about just to kind of get the chat started. Maybe we'll do a Q&A at the end. We'll see. Before we start, look, I know I don't look like I did on the picture. But this is an honest chat, so let's be honest. That's a picture from before quarantine, and I like the way I looked in it, and today I feel like a bum, so I'm dressed like one. At any rate, I hope that you guys are doing exceptionally well. Let me mute this so I can see comments on this side here. And yeah, so I told you guys that on my community post earlier, if you did not see, I wanted to discuss some different things on here. So some different things that I wanted to discuss were like channel updates. I wanted to talk to you guys about possibly changing the channel name as well as a few other things. Hey you guys, it's so good to see you joining the chat. Um, a couple of things I wanted to kind of fill you guys in on, and I know a lot of people were so concerned about like, oh my gosh, quitting the channel, things like that. Keep in mind I said quitting the channel, not quitting YouTube. So don't panic. It's fine. Still love you. Not going anywhere unless the Lord says otherwise. And that's how we shall handle that. From wherever you are viewing from, thank you for viewing. And I ask that you would just leave in the comments where it is that you're viewing from, because that's always interesting to me. And the channel is consistently growing. So it's always good to have new family members on there. My mom's on there. Hey, mom. So yeah, good to see you guys. At any rate, so in terms of different updates, things like that, one of the potential updates that I was thinking about making was actually to change the channel name, and not necessarily to like change the channel name from Glam Fam. I still would like to keep that because, you know, it's a big part of who we are. We are the Glam ambassadors. But I also feel like when I'm commenting on other people's videos, things like that, it's a lot easier for people to know what it is that we do if it says like Glam Fam hair tutorials or Glam Fam beauty, Glam Fam hair, something like that. And that way you're able to know without even knowing who we are as a channel, what it is that we rep. I'm from Missouri, so it's good to see Andrea Steele is from Missouri as well. That's exciting. Little Rock, Arkansas. My dad is near there. So it's exciting to me to kind of see so many of you joining the post. There's 91 people live currently and more jumping on at the moment. Um, so yeah, that's one of the updates that I'm considering making. And another update that I was thinking about making is actually updating the image on our channel. Right now, it's currently a picture of Allison and I, and it's from our last live chat. I am honestly thinking about updating that to an image that is of a hairstyle maybe that I've done on Zan, something like that. I used to have a hairstyle of Alexandria on there, but we changed it and our audience loved it, but I've noticed that we don't get as many new viewers as a result because there's not that indicating aspect of like, this is what this channel is about. And I want to make sure that I'm branding the channel well enough to where new people are finding it and they're able to learn hair information. I know a lot of people have asked as of late like how they can support the channel. I've had people emailing me how they can donate, things like that, and some have donated, and I thank you so much for that. That means a lot to me. But one of the biggest things that you can do to honestly help the channel is if you find that there's a video that makes you laugh or it makes you smile, or if it's a video that in some way educates you or helps you out, is to share that video with someone else. Share it with a friend or someone with kids or someone who's going through that struggle, things like that. It makes a big difference. So yeah, that helps a lot in terms of channel growth, and that's kind of why I'm talking about some of these different changes. Now keep in mind, none of this is like solid or set in stone. A lot of it is what's the word, a lot of it is very flexible or very fluid. I know you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing the word fluid. If you're in any type of essential service, I know you're probably so sick of the word fluid, you don't even want to drink water right now because that's literally all they keep telling us with work about all of this is this is a very fluid situation and all of that. So yeah, Kayliana, I miss seeing you as well. Kayliana is one of my students, so when you see her in there saying that she misses the salon, that's what she's referring to. Speaking of which, one of the other topics I wanted to discuss on was what it's like to be a teacher right now. And of course, in this instance, it's not just teaching my high school age students, because I do teach juniors and seniors in high school how to do hair, but I am also homeschooling Alexandria. And so there's a lot to juggle. And literally, literally, I feel like every day I'm lesson planning, I'm constantly working on something to try to prep. And we're either like most days, today I'm technically off because it's Good Friday, so bless the Lord. But I am currently going through a process of like every day I get up, we have 143 students. And with that 143 students, we have 3 instructors. So we work together to kind of make sure that we provide everything that those students need on a regular basis. That being said, we get up every day with a FaceTime call or with a Zoom meeting, considering whatever the day is, what all's required, things like that. And then from there, after we've planned out or mapped out our day, we start either emailing students or text messaging students or doing it on Schoology or Remind, or there's so many different ways that we have gone about trying to contact students to ensure that they are either doing their online learning or that they're okay, that they have technology, that there's not any problems at home. Our district has been excellent about making sure that they are still keeping certain campuses open for students to show up and get food if they are somebody who is eating at school and may not have the finances or the funds or the access to be able to get food on a regular basis. So I'm so happy to say that I'm still seeing several schools that are open specifically for that in this instance. And I think that that's fantastic. But I'm not going to lie, it is stressful. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn for the students. There's a lot to learn for staff members. Thankfully, I already had so many videos online share with students, but I am going to be making more. So that being said, you guys can expect to see quite on mannequins, things like that on the channel in the next few posts as well. You can also expect some shenaniganery and some foolery, so don't get bummed out if you're here for that. That being said, homeschooling is interesting. It is a lot of prep. I did post community posts on here, which if you guys don't know how to find my community posts, you basically go to the channel and then you look across the top, you can click on where it says community, and it will have like different little posts that I've made where it gives you vocabulary that I'm covering with Zan for the week, and I use those. I double them as her spelling words. She went ahead and did a test today on her vocabulary. I've got them right here. I typed them up and all that, and as you can see, she got a 100 on this one, not so much on spelling. So we're going to be seeing some of those words again next week. I'm just say because it makes no sense to go through it if you didn't learn it. We cover math as well, so we did 3-digit math. And then afterwards, I let her color, so that was her fun for the assignment. We cover nonfiction reading and social studies. We cover standard reading skills. We cover word problems for math, multiplication, cursive handwriting, PE. She reads for 45 minutes a day. And history, usually I'll try to find a video, something like that. And right now she's watching TV for enjoyment by watching educational TV. So she's watching the Who Was show on Netflix. So I'm trying my best to make sure that this child is getting the best education possible while she's home. So she's prepped for 4th grade, and I'm trying to share those resources with you. That being said, I have compiled a list of resources in the description box of this video if you are looking for resources for her. Someone just recommended Mystery Science, also being fun for her age. So in terms of science, I actually have like a kit. So like last week she made her own lip balm, and we did little chemistry and stuff with that. So we had a kit for that where she's able to make these different things. So it's been fantastic for that. But I did include a list of channels and videos, things like that, in the description box down below. I will admit some of these videos are a little difficult for me to get, or channels are difficult for me to get, because YouTube, with the way they do children's channels, is weird. Like if you click the share button, it will not let you share the channel. So I had to find some workarounds, but I did include the channel names as well, just in case you have any complications, because I wanted to make sure that that was there for you guys. So that's the homeschooling resources. I did also include some fitness videos and some fitness channels down there if you're looking for some PE ideas for your little people. So I hope that that helps out whoever is watching, whether you're a Glam fam member or a Glam ambassador or not, which if you're not, what are you doing with your life? But yes, so that's the whole deal with that. All I have to say about the whole homeschooling aspect, because I know it's challenging for parents, is please, after all of this finishes, if a teacher has to call home and tell you that your child was not being the perfect angel that you expect them to be, please do not automatically jump into it with "not my baby," because all of us are seeing how our babies can act right now. And I will say, when it comes down to it, you, even as a teacher, I am having struggles with homeschooling my own child, and it's because I know at school I cannot have corporal punishment, but at home at home is a whole different beast. And so trying to maintain professionalism in that aspect and staying teacher and not dad is sometimes challenging, especially where math is involved. So I did go ahead and buy a math program for Alexandria. It is called Splash Learn, and it has an app for it on the phone. You can do it on the computer, all of that, for them to be able to do their math. And it kind of gamifies the process where they're earning money and they can spend it on animals and all that type of stuff. Which, by the way, if you're looking to teach your kids about money, I did include a channel that teaches about money, and financial education is good for both children and adults in the comment or in the description box down below. So I am hopeful that this stuff will benefit you. I will tell you guys what I usually do, and do I have it here? I don't know. What I usually do when she is going through, like, watching some of these different videos, I watch the videos the night before and I form questions for her, and then I have her watch the video. Then she comes to the table and she has to answer the questions on that. After that, I look through those questions, and if the answers are incorrect, she's got to go back and watch the video again. So it allows you to make sure that they're getting some sort of learning out of it, rather than just, having them watch stuff just to keep them busy, or calling watching educational television being, educational. If they're not getting anything out of it and it's just looking at pretty colors, then, it's not really benefiting as much. So sometimes writing out, and like I literally write on a page like this, and I'll just go ahead and write down different questions. This is my list for the video of topics to cover, but I'll write down different questions based on whatever videos, and she just fills it out. And she can erase and come back. It's not like a hard grade or anything like that, but it's just me making sure she's getting the information. And that way we're not just breezing through 3-minute videos that are packed with information, and I can make sure that she gets all the important parts. So today we covered the different branches of government, and we've covered a lot of different stuff. So yeah, that being said, I honestly hope that that stuff is helping you guys out. Let me see here. Let's see. Someone said, I'm a teacher and I see a lot of parents really trying. My district, we just had to do distance learning training, and it's been tons of trainings. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I really feel like as an instructor in the modern age, it is great for us to be online and for us to know what to do, know how to handle these different things. Our students are in this space. We should be in this space. So if for nothing else, I feel like this is bettering instruction for teachers, because it allows you to diversify and find other ways that are creative about teaching, because I feel like a lot of times we don't meet the kids where they are, and so it's important for us to do that. Someone said on there, please encourage your kids to read. I love the fact that so many of you are leaving resources in the comments. That is literally what the Glam Fam is about family, connection, creating community, and putting those in one space where you guys are able to help each other, support each other, because I cannot answer every single comment on every single post. I try my best. It's not always possible. Dallas, Texas, hey boo boo. So, that makes a big difference. Honestly, it does. In terms of reading, I do have Zan read every single day. She reads for 45 minutes a day. On occasion, I'll go ahead and have her write a summary. And for writing assignments, you can also have them write about different things in terms of like summarizing their favorite movie or summarizing a movie that they watched the day before or a show that they like, things like that, just to get them practice with writing. In terms of with art, I have her do art literally like every day, but it's usually I'll have her draw the front of the house by memory or her favorite character off of Frozen from memory, whatever the case may be. And I just tell her to include as many details as possible. And so that helps out as well. There's also a website, extramath.com, I believe, that is a free resource where they can do math as well. So, yeah. My goal here is not just to help you guys with hair, because right now I know all of us are on the struggle bus. We're about to just turn it into a struggle cruise ship with social distancing and at least feel like we have some money in the deal because a bus anybody could ride a bus, but a cruise ship you got to do a payment plan for that. And I just want to feel a little bougie on the struggle. Okay, so at any rate, considering all that, I am filming as much as possible as well, and I'm editing quite a bit. So literally, like, I cannot sleep right now because of everything that's going on. And I don't mean everything that's going on in terms of like in the news, things like that. I mean everything that's going on in terms of like up here. This head is swimming with ideas and ways to be creative and different things I wanted to change or improve about the channel, how to improve certain videos to make them more engaging. So all of that is going on. By the way, for all of you who celebrate, I hope that you're having a good, a great Good Friday and that you have a wonderful Easter as well. But yes, so in terms of all that, I am considering a posting schedule. Right now, I am trying to go for Monday mornings and Thursday mornings. So if you're not getting notifications because YouTube sucks about notifications, I don't have coronavirus. But just in case you're not getting those notifications, I am trying to stick to a schedule currently with that. Now, once school starts back up, I may only be able to do one video a week because honestly, it takes me about 12 hours or so to do a video. And that's filming and editing and all that. So I'm doing my best with that, but it takes a lot of work. And there's no other way about it. I do have a couple of different things coming up. Someone just did a super chat for $5. Liv, thank you so much. Listening to work, I have no little humans. I have a lot of people who do so, so it's nice to be able to pass this information along to others. Thank you so much, and thank you for passing that information along. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Upcoming foolery. So, by the way, if you're not getting notifications for the channel, please make sure if you go to the channel and you click the subscribe button, resubscribe, click the bell, and see if you have like some notifications or all notifications. If you're looking to get all notifications, that may help if YouTube's not drunk that day, but yeah. So if nothing else, just know for right now to look for videos on Monday mornings and Thursday mornings. I've been trying to post around like 7:45 or 8 a.m. Central Standard Time in the US. So yes, because that's where I'm at. And that way I can typically try to answer back some comments before my work day starts, because usually at 8:25 my work day begins and I work until 4 something while juggling homeschooling. And then after that I'm able to edit and all of that. Upcoming foolery. So, like I said, I am trying to get more creative about the way that I do information. So, I do have some videos coming up where I am teaching on cosmetology subjects, but there's a lot of shenaniganery and it's still an informative video. But I'm also, for those who don't know, I am a hairstylist and a teacher. I started doing YouTube 10 years ago. And I started out with comedy videos that never went anywhere. And as I've continued on doing YouTube, especially on this channel, so many people have told me, you should do comedy, you're so funny, blah, blah, blah. And so this is a way for me to incorporate some of that comedy and some of my natural personality with that, and still be able to educate at the same time. That being said, you can look for a video on head lice coming up next week that is it's gonna be some foolishness in that one. I guarantee it. Our Oki, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She comments on so many things, and I don't know like her name, just her screen name. But thank you so much for your donation of $2 on Super Chat. I appreciate it, especially in times like these. To think that people are even thinking to donate to our channel is amazing. I really appreciate that notion, and it means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Let's see here. What else? Oh, there will be another Hairstylist Reacts video coming up very soon. And this one I'll be reacting to some hair fails. I have, what else? A, I just box braided Allison's hair the other day because for those who don't know, Allison has not really been on a lot of videos lately. She's exhausted. She works in the medical field, and so she's still having to go to work every single day, and it's a lot on her. She's stressed out. There's a lot of different things that are going on behind the scenes with her there to where she comes home and she's just ready to shut down. So naturally, I was like, look, you got a lot going on. I know you're not trying to do your hair or throw on a wig every day. So she has been, for those who are complimenting my hair, thank you, I see it. I appreciate it, thank you very much. But she has been busy, so much so with work to where she comes home and she's just exhausted. She's tuckered out, and I cannot blame her. To a certain degree, I'm exhausted as well, but I don't know, for some reason I feel like I perform better when I've got more on my plate. So I did box braids on her, and I did film that. I did do a tutorial for that as well. Some people are asking me about Cash App donations. After this video is completely finished, I'll try to adjust that in the description box. Oh, our Oki stands for Rhonda Oki, so thank you, Rhonda. um, let's see here. But I did film the box braids, so there will be a video coming up for that at some point as well. I also have a video that's been on the back burner for quite some time for men's braids. I have a tutorial coming up on Zan. Her hair is in between blessings right now, so hopefully I'll be filming a tutorial this weekend on Zan. I am thinking about doing videos on myself as well, so I'm trying my best to make sure that we've got stuff like that going on, but I am also trying to film stuff on mannequins and all of that. And the reason why primarily is because my students are not in class. And so they're not getting to see live demos. They're not getting to get that hands-on or learn that new technique from me like they used to. And a lot of them have seen my videos already. So I will be doing more mannequin work videos as well. I'm currently in the works on those, especially because to be honest with you guys, my videos where I'm working on mannequins are what supports this channel. They're what holds this channel up. Joy Banks, thank you so much for your $10 donation. I really appreciate it, love. The I'm trying to think on how to put this. I don't want to seem in any way unappreciative because I love the fact that we have our community of people that show up on every post and comment and are building relationships with each other. But it takes a lot of time, effort, money, and energy in order to create these videos and create all of this for people to be able to do. So that being said, my videos where I'm showing how to do things on mannequins for some reason always perform significantly better. And you can go back and look at any of my videos on the channel. Usually about 1% of our subscriber numbers, and I'm not going to say our subscriber base, but our subscriber numbers watches an average video on the channel. And then usually whenever there's a video where it's about like me showing like how to braid for beginners, how to use a curling wand, things like that, like those videos do extremely well. So a month ago, I did a video on how to French braid for beginners. That baby is over 100,000 views. My videos that I'm filming on other stuff, they seem like they're doing well in terms of comments and engagement, but they don't seem to perform well on here, which is kind of, it leads to my final panel because I've noticed, and I noticed this with my video where I was saying like this quarantine, whatever, I was trying out that octopus shenaniganery on my head, and I noticed it got 12,000 something views, And I looked today and it has 9,000 views. So something is going on YouTube where my videos that are not how-to tutorials on mannequins and stuff are gaining views and then being lost. And so basically it's like my reach is being limited. It is an older channel. Like I said, this channel is 10 years old, so I don't know how much that ties into it. And I have a hard time believing that only 2% of our audience is coming if they're all getting notifications and things like that, like YouTube says is going on. But honestly, there could be a number of different factors that are tying in with that. And there's a number of things going on with that behind the scenes, I'm sure. But I've honestly thought about creating a separate channel just for those more personal videos with the shenanigans and the foolery and all of that. Um, and that way I can save this for just tutorials, because me doing tutorials means that some of these are going to be a little bit more bland compared to my personality. Because I am very outgoing, things like that. But on my tutorials, I tend to be very mellow and, chill and just talk you right through it and blah, blah, blah. Because it helps to calm your nerves when you're stressed out and you're learning these different things. And I just feel like that helps a lot. But for right now, I am hoping not to have to do that, but I do plan on doing more of those style tutorials where I'm working on a mannequin, because honestly, that is what helps the channel earn. That's what helps us stay afloat. That's what helps us to be able to afford to get the equipment to do this stuff. Because Lord, Allison's been fussing me for the longest with this laptop and this cord. Like, look at this. She's like, would you please get another cord? And I'm like, look, I gotta get paid. I'm on the struggle bus, the struggle cruise ship. I'm sorry. So to me, just different pieces of equipment that are required to be able to film are expensive, and it's a long, arduous process. That being said, it leads right into videos I don't want to do no more. So in terms of videos that I really don't care to do anymore, would be wig reviews. And honestly, a lot of it comes to, I feel like a lot of y'all don't want to watch that. It's been evident in comments that I've received. It's been evident in other stuff. And it wasn't disrespectful. It's just one of those things where I've seen a lot of people that are like, I don't really care about wigs. I don't wear wigs, any of that. I watch it because I like you. I watch it because I want to see Allison, things like that. Just so you guys know, Allison is usually not comfortable with being in videos by herself. So having me on the video with her helps her feel more comfortable, especially because I am able to store and spout off information a lot easier. Um, so yeah. That being said, when companies are contacting you, and the way that it works when you're doing reviews where companies are sending stuff specifically for review, it can be a bit of a hassle. And honestly, to me, unless they were going to pay massive amounts of money, it really would not be worth it. And I don't care to do it even for massive amounts of money, and they don't get enough views for you to even be able to earn massive amounts of money doing it. So to me, honestly, it just feels like hand over fist, that's a waste. If people aren't interested, if it's not getting a ton of views, if it's not something that I can earn with, and honestly, I don't need any more wigs in the house. We've had so many wigs coming in this house. And for those who do not know, because I know different people have asked about stuff, Allison and I usually, like, she'll keep a couple of them, but those wigs get donated to people who are cancer patients, to people who have alopecia. We have mailed a few of those wigs out, but I do not broadcast it on this channel, especially because if you say giveaway, it brings people out of the woodworks. It fudges with your numbers. You have all sorts of people subscribing, trying to win stuff and all that, and making it look like they've been channel supporters for the longest. Whereas to me, I feel like I'm able to communicate with you guys and build relationships with you here and on Instagram, where I'm able to learn more about you and know what's going on with you, and to see you in the comments and to hear your questions and things like that. And to me, I feel like that's the people that I want to make sure are benefiting, not the people who are showing up just to get something for free, but the people who would actually benefit from getting something like that. And I hope that makes sense. I don't want to seem insensitive at all, but it's just something where I feel like when you advertise stuff like that, because we've done giveaways on this channel before, it brings people out of the woodworks that would never otherwise be on your channel, which sounds like a good thing, but I just don't like it. not for that reason. Like if you're gonna come out of the woodworks, come for the information, come come so you can learn more about the things that it is that we're offering for free here as a resource. I'm not trying to do this to get clout. I'm not trying to do it for attention. And the last thing I want to do is seem like we're being in any way charitable, kind, or giving for attention. That's just not my thing. So yeah. That being said, I don't like doing wig reviews in team out. At first, it was enjoyable. Um, but honestly, it gets to a point where I feel like a lot of these companies want you to do so many different things. They want you to have a video that's at least this long. They want you to mention this, and this. You got to send it to them for review. They've got to have this and highlight these different points and show them the website and have this other video here and have it up by this date. And they're emailing you constantly. It is a lot of hassle. And I've had different people where I've had to explain to them like why it is so many influencers charge so much. Because in that instance, if an influencer is charging for a review, and I know this is gonna have somebody upset because every time I talk about money, somebody gets offended. But I don't care. That's one thing I will not apologize for. But anytime that you are doing this different stuff, there's so many things that go into the behind the scenes. And I need people to understand, especially on this channel, that if you are being paid for something, or if I'm being paid for something to do a review, I'm getting paid for the service that I'm providing in terms of filming, in terms of editing, in terms of research, in terms of putting it all together, of marketing it, of filling out all the description information and making sure that I'm utilizing my knowledge and then presenting it to the audience that I've grown organically on my own without the help of these companies to be able to ensure that they're getting good information and all that. It does not buy my opinion. And if there's something in your line that I hate, y'all gonna know. So I mean, to me, it's just one of those things where I feel like my integrity, especially not only as a YouTuber, because I'm definitely not a standard YouTuber. Like, where's the studio? Where? Anyway, I'm definitely not your standard YouTuber, but I will say hairstylist as a man of God. My integrity is not worth so many different pieces that I feel like people tie in there. And I get that sometimes I have people where they assume that your opinion is bought, things like that, because uh, they don't know me, they don't know the channel, they don't know my integrity. I get that. Um, Usually in that instance, a lot of times the response, child, there's the time I took y'all in the garage. Yes, I will take you almost anywhere in the house, just not to the toilet. Okay, so when it comes down to it, it's just one of those things where I just feel like I do not like all of the extra stuff that comes with it. I don't like having to feel like I need to defend myself in the comments when someone is assuming that I'm like so many of these bad actors, I'll say, that are on YouTube, because there are people who you can buy. There are people who will do anything for a free wig or a free fan or a free light or whatever. And I'm constantly getting emails from companies that are like, advertise our baby bottles. I don't have a child that uses baby bottles. Why would that even be in a video on a hair channel? So nonetheless, I don't care for sponsored videos at all right now. And if I were, I would want it to be in other ways, which honestly, when you guys see the upcoming foolery, you'll understand a bit more because I feel like that allows me to potentially do more sponsored content that makes sense. That's not a ton of work. And so just so you know, Amazon Alexa will make an appearance in that video, but I was not paid to say jack about no Amazon Alexa. But Amazon, if y'all would like to hit me up, please feel free. Okay, so let me see here. Possibly quitting the channel. I already explained that to you guys. With that, I do not plan on quitting YouTube. I do not plan on quitting this channel, but I have thought about potentially switching things around to where certain things are coming into play, or just trying to make things better and better in terms of viewing experience. That being said, as I'm posting these videos, please give me y'all's feedback and opinion, things like that, because a lot of times as a YouTuber, all you have to go off of is likes and dislikes and the amount of comments and views. And clearly the views, like when I have 12,000 videos on a view and I wake up the next day, or 12,000 views on a video, and I wake up the next day and it's 9,000 views on there, I can't really gauge on views all the time. So if you're a regular watcher and you're letting me know, like, okay, I saw that you did this new, I really like that, or I like this new feel, whatever the case may be, I appreciate that. It lets me know what it is that you guys like. Um, so that makes a big difference in terms of knowing which way the channel is going and ensuring that I'm creating quality, even if it's not getting the views that I would hope that it gets. I hope that makes sense. At any rate, I'm gonna get to some of these different comments and questions on here. There's a lot of comments, a whole lot of time that I'm gonna be able to answer straight away, but I will be reading through these so that way I can create videos on some of these topics. So if you've asked me for certain stuff on there, just please make sure that you ask it in that section or in the comments beneath this video, and I'll be looking for your questions so I can create videos on those topics. So many things to say, my mouth is so dry. Okay, so what else was it I was gonna talk to you guys about? There's so many things to cover. Oh, but yes, if you guys can let me know your thoughts in the videos, sometimes it does help out, because sometimes people will click the dislike button and you don't know why it is they click the dislike. You don't know if it's like you dislike the video, you disliked the product, you dislike the outcome. Like I dislike the outcome on that octopus situation on my head. All of us dislike that. However, if you click the dislike button, like, okay, did you dislike it because of something like that? Did you dislike it because you thought, like, why does this man have all this hair on his head? Which ain't going nowhere. Like what was the thought process there? And that way it just allows me to kind of make more informed decisions moving forward. It doesn't guarantee that I'm not gonna be petty, because that's just part of my DNA. I'm gonna blame my mama, and if it ain't her fault, then it's the man she slept with. So either way, it's still her fault. So love you, mom. So, okay. I did ask ahead of time for some of your questions on topics to cover, and there was one that I thought was a really interesting question I wanted to implement in this video. It has nothing to do with the scheduled conversation, I'll say. And that one was, they asked for my thoughts on man weaves, male units, male illusion units, whatever you want to call them. And how can I place this in words? When it comes down to man weaves or male units, whatever, I don't care. Like, to me, let's be real. As a cul-de-sac owner, I'm about to start putting houses up here. I've got these cul-de-sacs here, right? They've been here my whole life. Now, I don't anticipate them getting any deeper, because alopecia doesn't really run in my family, but if it were for some reason to happen, you had best believe I would probably be in line to get a man unit. Allison don't have no problems with it, and if it helped me feel better about myself, I would totally be down. That being said, if the cul-de-sacs get a little deeper, either I'm building houses or I may well do something like that. But from how can I put it? I've seen some that are done really well, and I've seen them in person where you literally cannot tell. And for those who do not know, a man weave or a man unit, a man illusion unit, whatever the case may be, they're basically like fancy toupees, and a lot of them now have a polyurethane base on there, so when you part it, it looks like scalp. It shines like scalp. Like, I need them to figure out that technology and some of these wigs they're sending, because they look so good, where it's like you can be all up on it like this and still not be able to tell. They look really good if they're done well, because I've seen some, the baby. But we're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the good ones, okay? Hopefully you're going to a trained professional to get them. But to me, if you are getting it done correctly and you're doing it in a manner that's healthy for you and your hair, I don't care. If it makes you feel comfortable, if it makes you feel confident, if it makes you feel like people are looking at you and not at your scalp or you and seeing you for your actual age and not the age that you feel like you look, because a lot of times alopecia can make you feel like you look aged. Do what makes you feel comfortable. I don't care anything about that in terms of all of that. And honestly, if it bothers you that much as someone who doesn't have it, I mean, don't be with someone with it, I guess. I don't know. But I just feel like there's so many bigger concerns with that. And to me, I feel like if this is going to sound probably bad, but I feel like if a female can have artificial nails and artificial lashes and artificial hair and waist trainers and all that type of stuff, and if all this dude wants to have is extra hair on his head to make him feel younger, let him have some artificial, Lord. I mean, because artificial sweetener anywhere is that, at any rate. But I mean, to me, if that's what it takes for him to feel more confident or to feel like he can gain respect of others at the job, whatever the case may be, whatever his reasoning is, okay? Naturally, so I will say with anything like this, with anyone, male or female, when it gets into a place of you feeling like you cannot be without it or it ties into a negative mental health, that's where to me I feel like the concern comes in. But outside of that, I don't have any major issues for it. So that's all I gotta say. Um, Let's see here. Oh, so YouTube has this great new feature during live videos where it holds people. Oh, Lord, I almost died. It holds people's potentially negative comments for further review. So, trolls, I love you. Thank you for trying so hard. But yeah, it just won't work. The Lord is against it. Um, Lord, someone said Viagra. Oh, Lord. Um, Jesus be a fence and a chastity belt. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna look at some of you guys' questions, and that way I can try to answer some of these to the best of my ability. Um, let's see here. Someone said sea moss, moringa, aloe, cedarwood, almond oil, great for hair. I have tried moringa in terms of ingesting it because it's supposed to have a number of different health benefits, and it did not agree with my bowels. And that's as much as I'm gonna put that out there. I'll just say it was a near-death experience, and it wasn't a near-death experience. I'm just being extra, but it was a lot. It was dangerous. I should have been dehydrated and dead by the end of that. Let me see here. How is teaching going? Considering the circumstances, I think teaching is going well. However, comma space. To me, the aspect of teaching that is really difficult right now is as teachers, we're still trying to get our students to learn and still trying to get them online and still trying to get them to do the work. And it's challenging because standard classroom management techniques that work in school don't work online. And on top of that, you've also got other issues that you run into where some people don't have access to technology, or they may have access to technology, but there's one computer and three kids in the house, and all of y'all are doing distance learning. There are multiple different issues to tackle. And I will say the moral dilemma that I have as a teacher, and this is no shade towards my school that I teach for, my district. It's just, to me, I feel like it's a concern that I have. My moral dilemma with it is to constantly be reaching out to certain students that may not be letting me know that there is a financial struggle or there's a barrier, things like that going on that would prevent them from getting this learning or prevent them from getting online, things like that, where school is the last thing on their mind right now. Especially if, like in my instance, I teach cosmetology. I've got tons of students where their parent is either a professional in the hair industry, they're an entrepreneur, they're a salon owner, and that way, to me, it's difficult because like all of those businesses are closed right now. And then if it is something where your parent is an essential worker and all of your siblings are not in school either, you may be counted on as like another parent in the household to take care of these kids. to me it's difficult because when I'm having to reach out to parents and reach out to kids about not getting online and not doing their assignments and things like that is disheartening because I genuinely don't know, and I don't want to feel like I'm harassing some of these students to get online and do the work when truth be told they could have so many deeper things that are going on in their life at the moment, and it's overwhelming to think about. I don't want to talk about that anymore. um so let's see here. Let's go to something more positive because I'm trying not to end up in that headspace. How long do you plan on growing your hair? What should be the standard length before it becomes a hassle? Um, Honestly, I don't know. So I saw a post from Geo Filipino Hair, and I love his hair. It is amazing. His hair is fantastic, and I feel like it's very similar to mine. It's extremely long, and I was like, oh, that looks nice, that would look good on me. So that was the initial goal when I started growing it out. However, comma space, I will tell you guys, like, there have been so many times where if I get extremely stressed out, this hair goes, it's gone, like buzzed off. I did have one instance where I flat ironed my hair out when I was younger because I haven't flat ironed my hair in well over 3 years now. But I had flat ironed my hair out. I was walking outside, the wind's blowing, hair's blowing in the wind. I'm feeling like, hey, I look good, all that. And I got in the car and went to put on my seatbelt and snatched out a tuft of my weave. And so I was just like, it's time to go. That being said, I don't know how long I'm gonna let this hair grow. Right now, it's not bothering me, and it's easy for me to pull it up. If it's hot, it's easy for me to wear it down. If it's cold, it gives me some blockage from the wind because I cannot handle cold air and wind in my ears. And it gives me some versatility. Plus, honestly, I feel like it is difficult as a YouTuber who's teaching about hair to get people to listen to what you're saying if you don't have hair to show. So to me, having some hair on my head and showing that growth when I'm giving you hair growth tips is a great way for me to be able to do that. No, I have not gone on to Elite Hair Care USA. I'll make it a point to do that today though, so I can check out her videos. Um, Thank you so much for the comment on the uh, where'd it go? Oh, on the braiding kids' hair. I appreciate that. I'm working on a couple more of those. Um, 6-month-old baby, Korean and black, fine hair. What's good for moisture? So honestly, and this is where it kind of gets a little difficult to do that because everyone's head of hair is different. But I will tell you now, I would not do lines that are specifically for kids or for babies, so to speak, like the tear-free stuff and all of that. I don't usually recommend for kids. It's too high alkaline, and basically what that means, like your hair and your skin are acidic. So the pH scale goes from 0 to 14. We're getting into science talk now. Your hair is 4.5 on the scale. Neutral is in the middle. So you are on the acid side. That includes babies, things like that. Now, if you're just using shampoo, they always usually tend to be a little bit more alkaline because they're trying to open up the cuticles to get dirt, debris, oil, things like that all off of the hair. Now, when you are conditioning, usually that's putting back the things that were taken out in terms of moisture and all that without the dirt and without the weigh down and everything. And it helps to return the hair to its natural pH balance so you're able to more easily detangle and care for the hair and see the moisture balance be where it needs to be. That being said, usually when you are getting tear-free shampoos, they tend to be alkaline because while the outside of the body is acidic, the inside of the body is alkaline. So alkaline products tend not to burn when they get in the eye. So usually a baby shampoo, something like that, tends to be a little bit higher alkaline. Let me put my arm like this because it makes me look like I have muscle. This is like where to go? There it is. Okay, so anyway, so when it comes down to it, getting a shampoo that is for proper hair care is honestly better than just shampooing very carefully not to get it in that little person's eyes. So like leaning them back and making sure to just kind of run water over the top of their head, or getting one of those little head things here so like the water doesn't run into their eyes. And if you're wanting to know some of my favorite products, I literally put them in the description box of every video. You can click on it and it'll take you to a whole storefront page on Amazon where I've already compiled a list of my favorites. I love Giovanni's Ultra Moist 2 Chic line. It is not in any way sponsored. I have never been paid to do a single video for them. However, comma space, when you click on the links underneath the description box to buy products, I usually earn a 4% commission off of your purchase. So like, let's say, for instance, if you go on there and you say, oh, I want to check out this shampoo, and you go on there and you click on that link. When you click on that link and you go there, if you buy that product and it was $1, I earn 4 cents. If it was $100, I earn $4. If you click on that link and then you decide, you know what, I'm not gonna buy the shampoo, I'm gonna buy hot Cheetos, which, by the way, for those of y'all who are buying hot Cheetos, I see it because I can see it on the report. I earn 4% of those hot Cheetos. So yeah. Um, so that's kind of what the deal is there. Miss Mina, thank you so much for your donation of $5. Let me see here. It says, shave my head at the start of quarantine. My hair was already short. Discovered my scalp is a mess. Help, dry scalp and scabs. I have thick, coarse hair. So dry scalp is incredibly common. If you're having scabs, there could be a number of other issues there. But one of the best things that you can do, honestly, still shampoo and condition. Massaging that conditioner into the scalp and incorporating scalp massage in general can be helpful. I'll have to find the video because there was one where I was doing my own hair and doing it as like a chit chat type of video. And in that video, I showed a scalp scrub that was from Shea Moisture, and it has, help me, Lord, brain is not working. So basically, it has a chemical exfoliant in there that allows you to remove excess debris, excess oil, things like that off of the scalp, and it still calms the scalp down and helps out with that. A lot of times for my clients that have issues with oils and cannot put oils on their hair but are having issues with dry scalp, my favorite brand is Thayer's Witch Hazel. It is infused with aloe vera. It's infused, yes, salicylic acid. Thank you, Marley. Because Lord, this brain was broke. It was done. So how can I put it? The Thayer's Witch Hazel has glycerin in there. It does have alcohol in there, which honestly serves some benefit, but it also has in there your glycerin, it has in there your aloe vera, it has a number of different moisturizing agents in it. And for my clients that have seborrheic dermatitis, where they have flakes and things from excessive oil production or from excessive oil use, they see benefit in that excessively. It's amazing. For everyone who's just joining the chat, hey, love you. Hi, thanks for joining. Let's see here. Where are we at? Love your kids tutorials. Do you have any specific videos on laying edges for children? Thanks. A lot of times I'll just kind of tap on it in certain videos where like I happen to be laying edges a bit more, things like that, but I don't really have tips for it. I usually, like, I don't use edge controls. I don't really care for them. I'll use a gel. And it's usually an alcohol-free gel. So I like the Wetline Extreme gel. The Style Factor Edge Booster gel is not bad. Yes, by the way, if you're liking this video, you're getting value from it, please click the like button. It helps out a lot. But all of that does help out to some degree to use like an alcohol-free gel that is low in protein. So like Pro Style, things like that are not always the best to use on a regular basis because it can have your protein balance a little bit too high. Someone is asking about growing your edges back. It depends on what caused them to leave and the damage that was done to the, how can I put it? The damage that was done to the follicles from pulling and things like that. You can see some benefit from a scalp massage, but please don't fall for these tricks of like monostat challenge, chili pepper challenge, put Coca-Cola in my hair challenge, rub coochie cream on my scalp. Like, that mess does not work. Scalp massage does a lot. It helps out quite a bit. But yeah, edge control, I'm just not a fan. To me, it's always gunky. And like, if you saw my last video that I just posted yesterday, you already know how I feel about edge control. Like, it's literally that homegirl that's like, I got your back, we got to throw down, blah, blah, blah. And then you get beat up and she's yelling world star. She didn't help you out at all while you got jumped and she claims she didn't see it while she was the one that posted the video. That's how I feel about edge control. Okay, anyway, so let's see. I saw someone else had a question on it. What are my thoughts on the LOC or the LOC method? So liquid oil cream. Um, to me, personally, honestly, I feel like the LOC method or the LOC method, I guess it could be beneficial because you are still utilizing moisture, but honestly I feel like LCO is a bit better because then you're doing a liquid, a cream, and then an oil to seal. So basically I'm putting a liquid in here for moisture, putting my cream in here for moisture, unless you're doing a cream oil in terms of like a shea butter or something like that, but then that would be still an oil. So anyway, but liquid for moisture, cream leave-in or styling cream, something like that for moisture as well, and then an oil or a sealant to seal it all in is honestly a better way to go, in my opinion. For those who are asking about like stuff like the curly girl method and things like that, there are certain aspects of it that I'm like, okay, but then someone was telling me that like a curly girl method approved product was like KY jelly, and I was just like, for why? So I can't get down with all the curly girl method because I'm just not down with slapping products that were not made for certain things in certain areas where it shouldn't be. Just like they can keep that. Anyway, so let's see. Someone asked if you can cover gray with henna. Henna can cover gray, but be careful on the hennas that are like dark colors. Henna is usually an orangey shade. A lot of times the ones that are in extremely dark colors are either not completely henna or they're not entirely safe. They're sometimes a bit more toxic for the body. So do your research there to ensure that you're using something a bit more safe. Now keep in mind you can use a rinse if you don't have any type of allergies to aniline derivative dyes, things like that, where it does not have ammonia, it does not have peroxide. You're literally using a clarifying shampoo to open the cuticles and then just staining the hair with that. And that's a safe way to go as well, so long as you don't have allergies to aniline derivative dyes. Let's see here. My thoughts on Just For Me texturizer. Lord, y'all trying to get me fired up today. So for texturizers, and I did a video on this back in the day. It needs to be refilmed because I didn't understand as much about lighting and all that. But texturizer, chemical softeners, texture release systems, hair softeners, what else do they call them? Blowout kits, all of that, oh, and Texlaxing, all of that is fancy names for relaxer. And the only thing that makes a relaxer different from a texturizer is the amount of time that you leave it on. Otherwise, it's the exact same chemical. It does the exact same thing. And before I started doing hair, I actually made the mistake of like I had a hair relaxer back in the day. And I was like, I want my hair to be curly like this dude on the S-Curl box, you know? And I was like, you know what? Because his hair looked nice. I've always wanted my hair to be a tighter curl than it is here because this Jerry curl flow is not working for me. I mean, I'm okay with it now. I like it. But yeah, it's been a lot. So at any rate, I went from relaxer to feeling like, oh, okay, I want my hair curly now. I'm gonna put this texturizer on here. And me being ignorant and not knowing that it's the same chemical on both, I could not understand why I put that on my hair and my hair was straight. And on top of that, it felt fried because it's not gonna turn your hair curly. The only thing it does is loosen up whatever curl pattern is there. So that's literally all texturizer does. That being said, you did say Just For Me, so I'm assuming that you mean for children. And honestly, I do not recommend putting any chem on a child under the age of 12. And even still, I would be careful just because different children go through puberty at different ages, and children's skin is much more sensitive than adult skin. Children's hair is usually much more fine than adult hair, and honestly, a lot of times, if you just give it some moisture and some love, it will work better for you. But I would rather you take the time and the money to educate yourself on how to deal with that little person's hair rather than throwing a chemical in that baby's hair, especially because they don't have a choice in the matter. And I have seen little people with chemical burns on the scalp, with permanent damage on the scalp, where they in adulthood cannot function with a full head of hair due to something that they had no control over. At least let them chew up their own hair as an adult. So that's just my thought process there, or at least let them be at an age where they can ask for it or consent to it, something like that. Now, that's just my personal thoughts, and if you disagree, I apologize that you disagree, but my opinion will not change on the matter. I have little girls as well. I've been doing this professionally for years, and I'm speaking from a professional opinion, not from a parenthood opinion. It's not about trying to keep your baby young or not make her grown or anything like that. It's trying to keep her safe and trying to keep her hair healthy as well as her skin healthy. Um, Let me see here. So many comments. Oh Lord. When did I start growing my hair? I'm having a whole issue because I don't have a date for myself. I'm thinking about starting over. LOL. Trying to think, when did I start growing my hair? I want to say it's been two 2 years now. I think maybe 3. I think it's been 2.5 years, somewhere in there. Now, just so you guys know, hair grows about half an inch a year on the average individual. It does grow slightly faster on children's hair, and it also grows slightly faster in spring and summer. So you do see a bit more of an increased growth there. That being said, it also tends to grow slightly slower in fall and winter. So yeah, but that being said, I want to say we'll call it 3 years just because I'm not certain. But in that amount of time, let me see, where is this from? So many pieces. Where is this? That piece is short. Child, we need to get that together. Throw that back there. So we're down to, I'd say about, if this were on a woman, it'd be about bra strap length. In the back, in the front, we are looking at just past collarbone, like sternum-ish. I don't know. Don't get me to start with anatomy there. But yeah. Are you going to ever make and sell your own products? So, spoiler alert, I already kind of do, but I don't sell them online, things like that, because I don't need any legal problems. And ain't nobody got time for websites and all that. And it's just so much work. I created products initially for Alexandria because she has eczema and she is very high porosity and all of that. And I started selling it because my clients were demanding it in the salon. But I've really gotten away from it some because I just genuinely don't have the time. So it's very rare that I make and sell all of that. Let me see here. Still getting some comments. Let's see. What is more important to learn your child's hair, curl pattern or hair type? Find medium course in order to best care for their hair. So honestly, your hair type is more important because if you don't understand that you have fine hair and you're using a temperature that's better for coarse hair, things like that on there, you can stand to do a lot more damage. To me, curl patterns, and this is an issue that I see in the natural community a lot, where like you see people that are talking about, oh well, this 4C hair doesn't bow down to blah blah blah. The curl pattern has nothing to do with hair texture. Curl pattern is how tightly curled that hair is. Texture is how thick in diameter the hair is. Naturally, hair that's more coarse is thicker in diameter, but it could be straight and very thick and be able to handle a lot more abuse, like a lot of like especially Asian hair, things like that. I don't know if you've ever seen like where Asian hair, they can bleach their hair to no end sometimes and still have hair on their head. And because their hair tends to be a little bit more coarse, in most instances they can take a bit more abuse to that hair. Whereas, like, for instance, with someone with more curly hair, if your hair is curly, it's going to be more moisture deficient, so it's more prone to breakage. But uh, if you have more curly hair and it's fine, you're especially more prone to breakage. So I've seen some people with 4C hair and a hair color took their hair out. So to me, knowing texture is much more important than knowing curl pattern. But a caveat to that would be, if this is your child and you're gonna be doing their hair for infinity bajillion years, it helps to know both. And honestly, finding out the curl pattern is a pretty quick thing. And the only benefit to me in terms of knowing curl pattern is there are certain styles that are just easier on certain coil patterns that are much more difficult on others. So, like for instance, if I were trying to lock my hair, it would take me anywhere from 9 months to 2 years for my hair to maturely lock. On a head of 4C hair, they can start locking in as early as 3 months. And to me, like that's something that you need to know going into it. With my hair, in order for me to do two strand twists, they got to be some big chunky, like the little girl bobo twist. Like it's I cannot do two strand twists unless my hair has been blown out straight, because then it will not come a loose. But if it's curly, it's not going to do it. My curl pattern is too loose for that. I am what you would consider between 3B and 3C, for those who don't know. And since I know someone's going to ask, your curl pattern chart basically, it goes from 1 to 4. 1 is straight. 2 is wavy, and then you've got A, B, and C. The letters are basically for the level of intensity of that wave or that curl in that instance. So you've got 2A, which is a very loose wave, 2B, which is a medium wave, 2C, which is a tight wave, and then you move into 3, which is curly. So then you've got A, B, and C again. A being loose curl, B being like more of like somewhere in between. It's almost like a wave, almost like a curl, and C where it's more of like a ringlet type of curl. And then you've got 4A, B, and C. Now this is where it can get a little confusing for people. There is no 4Z, 4K, 4LMNOP, and there's definitely not a 6D. Someone posted it the other day and I was like, okay, well, I get your humor. Please don't have people thinking there's actually 6D hair out here. So for 4, it just started with type 4 hair. And then from there, it branched out because people realized that type 4 was not broad enough to include multiple hair types. So you've got 4A, which is like, it's like ringlet curls, tight ringlet curls, but they are still somewhat loose or whatever. Then you've got 4B, which a lot of people refer to as 4Z because it's not actually curly, it's kinky. And when I say it's kinky, I don't mean like, oh, that's nappy. I hate that word. When I say it's kinky, I mean like it does not form in a spiral curl pattern. It's literally like kinks. Then you've got and honestly, their hair is understand because it does not hold twists super well. It will hold braids, but it's always one of those where like when you see it out, it looks like 4C hair until you start working with it and manipulating it. And then you're like, why is this hair acting like it's more straight? Why is this hair acting like this and that? And it just doesn't fall in that range. And then you've got 4C hair. 4C is the tightly coiled hair, which honestly gets a bad rap from a lot of people, gets a lot of hate, but literally 4C is my favorite texture. It is so versatile. You can do so much with it. It is amazing. I love that fabric of hair. And I just love 4C hair. It's amazing. And if you don't appreciate it, I'm gonna pray for you. I see a few people saying like, "Oh, my hair is barbed wire. My hair is 62D or whatever." So moisture is huge. Moisture is huge, huge, huge. And I will say a lot of the way the hair feels sometimes ties in with how it's being treated, whether you're using excessively hot water or whether you're using moisturizing products, if you need to be sealing, if you sweat in your head, because sweat is drying. So all those different things can go on. To those joining the chat, hello. Um, so yeah, a lot of different things can kind of tie in with that. But your curl pattern does not, like if you're wearing a relaxer and you have 4C hair, that does not mean that you need a super. A lot of times my clients with 4C, like literally in 20 years of doing hair, I've used a super one time. Every other client that's come in, I've been able to do their hair with a mild relaxer, especially my clients that have 4C hair, because usually the hair is more fine and it just is able to take a lot less abuse. It's more moisture deficient, so it needs a little bit more love in that aspect, or in that aspect is the right word. So yeah. Thank you. You like my video about oil and grease. I appreciate that. Let me see here. What about older women's hair that thins in density? So there can be a number of different factors that lead to thinning. And so a lot of times as we age, our follicles actually shrink in size. And so you can see uh, hair itself begin to go from coarse to fine in that instance, or begin to come thinner in terms of appearance. You can also see as your hormones change that there are multiple different aspects there. And this is one area where I will say, I wish more people would listen to their doctors when they tell them what they need to do to avoid medications, because I've seen so many people where they are losing hair up top due to high blood pressure medication or heart medication, and are still eating all the salt that they want to, are still not exercising, are still eating highly processed foods, things like that. Whereas if you are able to decrease that blood pressure to where you don't need a high dosage of medication, you don't get the drawbacks of the side effects of some of these medications. That does not mean stop taking your medication. What that means is listen to your doctor. And unfortunately, I have so many clients that will come in and they'll start worrying about how they eat and how they care for their health as a result of their hair, when your health is far more important. And last thing I want to see is people being taken out of here and vanity being the one thing that's saving grace. But if that's my calling, is to be able to share this information with people so that way they know that your health impacts the whole body, then amen, so be it. Let's see here. Sandrine, I hope I'm saying that correctly. It might be Sandrina. Simon, thank you so much for your donation of $10. I really appreciate it. And God bless you as well on this Good Friday, on this great Friday. Despite being on lockdown, God is still good. Now, that being said, if you are going through, there are several different types of thinnings that you can see. So, like for instance, after you have a child, things like that, you can see postpartum hair loss, which is usually something that impacts like right in this area in here. And I did, by the way, for those who are wondering and want to revisit this in shorter excerpts, I do have a playlist that deals with hair loss and shedding. If you go to my channel, click playlist, it's in there. And I've got like 8 videos that deals with different types of hair loss. But it's usually like right in here for postpartum when it comes down to hair loss there. And you actually see postpartum shedding a lot of times with postpartum care, so after having a child. But you also can see it quite a bit from after menopause or when you're going through menopause as well. You can see hair loss due to thyroid disorders. You can see hair loss due to diabetes and diabetes medications, especially like metformin is known to do a number on the body in general, but you can see issues with hair loss with that as well. You can see issues with hair loss when it comes down to, of course, any type of chemo, anything like that. Anything that impacts the hormones in general impacts hair growth and impacts shedding and things like that. And then, of course, high blood pressure, heart medications, all that, as well as sometimes certain antidepressants. I had a client of mine that had lupus, and she was on a medication for that that ended up taking her hair out. I've seen people on medications for fibromyalgia where the medication has taken their hair out. So sometimes if you're noticing that and you're on medications, talking to your doctor about potentially changing those medications to something that agrees with your body more can benefit. I'm not advocating for people stopping their medications because I'm assuming that your doctor put you on it for, but I am saying that you should advocate for yourself, do some research, and listen to the doctor's orders when at all possible, because it's important and it's for your health. Um, Let me see here. Yes, PCOS. PCOS is polycystic ovary syndrome, which, by the way, Allison suffers from PCOS as well. And a lot of times in that instance, you'll see where women will struggle with male pattern baldness over time frames, or that hair will begin to thin as a whole from the head, but it begins to thicken in other areas, like right in here, along the lip, the chest, things like that. You can see a number of different factors that play in there, and that usually, for those who don't know about PCOS, essentially is basically where when in your ovaries an egg is supposed to drop out of the sac into the ovary, and then from there it trying to think of the best way to word this. It goes into the uterus and all that, and then from there, when you are passing an egg, is when you're usually having your cycle, things like that. A lot of times, the egg has to come to a certain point of maturity in order to drop from the sac and down into the rest of the female organs. So, and this is very generalized. I am not a specialist, so if any part of this is wrong, you're in the medical field, I apologize. But essentially what's going on in this instance is that the egg never came to full maturity to remove itself from the sac, and so it ends up hardening and crystallizing and creating a cyst. And you have multiple cysts that begin to form, and it causes some swelling within that ovary, and as a result, the body begins to produce more testosterone. As a result, you end up seeing hair loss in terms of like male pattern baldness. Sometimes you can end up seeing very irregular cycles or very painful cycles, very sporadic cycles. You can end up seeing a number of issues with hair growth in areas that you don't want it, a deepening of the voice, things like that. There's a number of different factors that can take place there. And literally the main reason why I know this is because it's something that my wife suffered with. It literally led to fertility issues where we tried for 3 years to have Alexandria. And that was a very emotional roller coaster. We've shared a little bit about that on this channel before. But yeah. So for those who don't know, male pattern baldness is usually from the production of a chemical agent that the body produces when mixed with testosterone called DHT. So they do actually have products that have DHT blockers in them. So if it is something that ties into that production of testosterone, things like that, you can see that thinning stop by using a DHT blocker, which is usually a topical treatment. You can also have a DHT blocker that they have as oral treatments, but consult with a doctor before you put anything in your system. So yeah, that's something to think on as well. Yeah, so many details. Just know there's a whole lot that can go into this. Let's see here. Okay. So someone asked me how you know if you have high porosity hair. Usually high porosity hair, like let's say, for instance, and I have to be very specific with this because high porosity, a lot of people don't know what they're feeling for when they feel their hair. So they tend to feel for dryness like this and they think, oh, my hair feels dry. Afro hair tends to feel dry when you rub your hands over it like this. That does not mean it's dry. If you're feeling for moisture, one of the best ways to do it is pull that hair out and then slide your fingers down the shaft of the hair. That is just to kind of give you a precursor to this information I'm about to provide. So when it comes down to high porosity hair, usually you are moisturized, and hold on, pause. So porosity is such an in-depth subject, and there's so much that goes into it that when it comes down to it, you have every head of hair can have high porosity hair. Whether you're low porosity, normal porosity, or high porosity, any head of hair can have high porosity. High porosity can be something that's naturally occurring. It can be something that's as a result of chemicals like relaxer or bleach or hair color. It can be as a result of repeat abusive styling, like heat processing, blow drying, things like that. Or it can just be as a result of aged hair. So usually your porosity increases towards the ends of the hair anyway, which is why a lot of times up here the hair will feel silky and smooth, and down towards the bottoms it tends to feel a little more rough, it's more prone to breakage, things like that. Or it just always feels dry, and that's also why it splits, because it's the oldest portion of the hair. It dries and it breaks, and that's what causes split ends and all that. So that being said, anyone can have high porosity hair, and you can have different porosities in different areas of the head. So when you say high porosity, I'm assuming that you're meaning majority of high porosity naturally occurring, because that's honestly the hardest one to deal with. So with high porosity hair, usually you can shampoo, you can deep condition, all that, and it may feel well moisturized for a day or two. After that, it needs moisture again. It's very prone to dryness. As you guys have seen with Alexandria's head, like her hair does not hold hairstyles primarily because she sweats in her head. She's high porosity. That hair is very thirsty. It reacts to all moisture outside. It does not agree with it. Her hair also does not have as much melanin as someone with a darker hair color would have, so it doesn't have protection from the sun, which can also increase issues with evaporation of moisture and increase of porosity there in terms of becoming high porosity. So that being said, she has a lot of issues with porosity being a struggle. Um, which, hold on. Um, when it comes down to it, you can have a number of different issues with that. So, high porosity, you tend to see more issues with breakage. You tend to see more issues with needing to frequently moisturize, things like that. For those who didn't know, the click was to call her. It's my way of summoning my children. Okay, come here real quick because I want to show your hair color. Okay, so you guys can see like in her hair, it's in between blessings right now, so don't be trying to judge. It needs to be done, we know. Okay, so her hair, because it is this lighter coloration and because she sweats, it tends to dry out really easily. But this sandy brown color, turn for me please. This sandy brown color like this has a tendency of being more dry. It has a tendency to be more high in porosity, things like that. So it can be a struggle. Now that's not to say that every head of hair is like that, because it depends on whether the hair is fine, medium, or coarse, or what the coil pattern is like. In our instance, Zan's actual coil pattern is a mixture of patterns. So in some areas she has a coil, in others she's got a wave, in others it is just kind of kinky. It does whatever it wants to, and she is the definition of a mixed baby. And unfortunately, mixed babies usually have multiple textures in their hair. All curl pattern hair has multiple textures, but it becomes increasingly prevalent and noticeable sometimes in mixed children or children of mixed heritage. That being said, this hair needs frequent love and moisture. So I would say if you're constantly struggling with keeping that hair moisturized, there's a chance that it may be higher in porosity. Um, Everyone worries about low porosity. I'll tell you guys now, don't stress about low porosity. Low porosity hair is some of the healthiest hair that you will find because, girl, your nostrils all up in the camera, girl. Back up some. Lord Jesus, be offense to her nostrils. So you can go back and watch your show if you want. Thank you. I love you.
Love you too.
Um, so low porosity, everyone is always worried about it, and people are selling products for it and all that type of stuff. And honestly, I'm going to tell you now, that is a waste of money. You can use shampoo that works for normal hair if you have low porosity hair. Usually what low porosity infers is that your cuticles are closed more tightly, or it's what we would consider resistant hair. It's honestly super healthy because it's not just gonna blast wide open and lose moisture. It keeps moisture really easily. It's honestly very hard for you um, to lose moisture if you're low porosity. And even still, a lot of people are like, it's so hard to get moisture in. It's not hard to get moisture in low porosity hair. You just need an application of some gentle heat. If you feel like you're having that much difficulty, you can use an overhead dryer. You can put a cap on your head and then put a stocking or a winter cap, something like that, over it, and use your body heat. All of those are great ways to be able to get moisture into the hair. And low porosity, like, this is why you don't see a ton of videos on low porosity on my channel, because I hate YouTube for all of the misinformation that goes out here. And low porosity hair is healthy hair. Like, that's a good thing. So if you have low porosity, rejoice and be glad. That's Bible. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Okay. Now, that being said, someone just asked a question that I feel like needs me to, and it doesn't need me, but it inspires me to discuss a little bit more on porosity. Um, Normal porosity is a thing too. And this is where most people fall on the spectrum, is in that normal range. So I've seen different people where they talk about, okay, well, if you pull your hair out and or you have shed hair and you put it in a cup of water, all that type of stuff. There's a number of different tests that you can do with that, but if there's any oil on your hair, that can alter the results of that test. If you have any type of chemical process on your hair, that hair that has been chemically treated is at a higher porosity. It's going to need more moisture. If you sweat in your head quite a bit, that hair is constantly dry, you have a higher porosity, you're gonna need that moisture. If you're using incredibly cheap shampoo, usually you have a higher porosity because that shampoo is very high alkaline. So those cuticles are staying kind of open because we're not using something that's gentler and just mildly opening it. So I've wanted to do this video for quite some time, but let me go ahead and move you guys here because I feel like this kind of helps to discuss porosity and what your cuticles do a bit. So don't mind the horrible lighting. So I'm here at my blinds, okay? Now, your cuticles, when you have low porosity hair, those cuticles are tightly closed like this. It doesn't mean that you cannot get moisture in or out. And in this instance, we're going to look at the light as moisture, okay? So if we are dealing with our cuticles being closed or flat down, which is honestly preferred, this is why I prefer that you use uh, pH balanced products for your hair, because if it has an acidic balance to it, it closes your cuticles down and locks that moisture in. So that's why I always encourage you guys to use a leave-in conditioner after you have conditioned your hair, things like that. Now, if you are to take it and open it up a bit, now we're looking at a bit more of like a normal porosity where we're able to get moisture in pretty easily. It's also able to escape, but it doesn't escape super easily. But with high porosity, when we open this baby up, we can see how light floods the room. So it receives moisture really easily, but it also loses moisture. So when it's dark and the lights are on in the house, everybody can see us walking around in here butt naked. So close the blinds. Make sense? Okay, great. All right, so that's all I have to say about that. And let me move my camera back. Well, not my camera, my phone, which is probably burning up. Okay, so I hope that that kind of helps to explain porosity a bit for everyone. Like I said, I've been wanting to do a video on it. I probably still will. So even though you got it here, please watch that video. It's gonna be helpful for a lot of people. But but I am hoping that you guys are able to kind of grasp porosity a bit better through that example there, because I don't know how else to get it to you. Liv, thank you so much. So I'll come through visual examples. Amen. Oh, also for those who are wondering, because I know somebody is going to ask, and I know, how can I put it? I have talked about Shea Moisture a lot of different ways because they're a little bandwagon-y. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you guys remember me doing that video talking about how, what is it? Shea Moisture, I feel like jumps on the bandwagon and they end up doing things that it's like, okay, it's popular in the industry. So that being said, like rice water is a thing. They're probably gonna come out with this and that. And literally, you guys, like 2 months later, I will go to Target and there's a rice water line in Target from Shea Moisture. And I was just like, for why? Like, I don't care about rice water. It's just not my thing. I don't understand why. If you just take care of your hair correctly, you don't have to do all this extra putting fermented stuff that smells like booty hole in your hair. Like, for why? Anyway, but that's a whole separate situation. I know someone probably just got offended. Mother Turner just went to get the oil because I said booty hole on the live chat. Um, let's see here. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so I'm just gonna say Miss Marshall. Thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate you. Thank you kindly, dear. So Shea Moisture, I love the line that they were when they first came out. Um, they have changed over the years. Some of their ingredients have changed in certain products, so it does not perform in the same manner that it used to. That being said, I am not a hater of Shea Moisture. I'm just realistic. So there's certain products that don't work like they used to. Like I used to love their what is it? Their moisture retention shampoo. I think it's a moisture retention shampoo or a hydrating tangling shampoo, whichever one it is. It's very moisturizing, or at least it used to be. It's still moisturizing, but it doesn't have the same kind of slip it used to. That used to be one of my go-tos. I literally used it in the salon. It's not the same anymore. Hold on, pause. So let's see here. Sorry, my spam blocker done blocked the post booty hole from somebody. Let me not unblock that because you're not calling me a booty hole. You just comment on what I said. Let's see here. One Emmanuel 6. Thank you so much, dear, for your donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you kindly, dear. So yes, they basically, the original owners of Shea Moisture sold the company, and you began to see many changes in the company since. Now there are still some things that agree with my hair. There are still some things that agree with my girl's hair. So you do see me use them, and you do see me occasionally use them in videos. Like I said, I'm not a Shea Moisture hater, but if you've noticed that it used to work for you and now it doesn't, that's likely why. That being said, for those who are wondering, I do have their curl enhancing smoothie in my hair today, which surprisingly enough, like the curl enhancing smoothie used to be all right. Whatever change they made in it, it now seems to agree with my hair pretty well. But I will say, if you don't, you have to work it into your hair, because if you just throw it on there, like it turns white in my hair if I just throw it in there. But I throw it in there and I literally massage it in. Like, I don't know why I gotta make my hair feel good, but at any rate, that is the deal. Now, I will say the Giovanni Ultra Moist Too Chic, I've used it on clients, everything. They have not changed anything that I've noticed as of yet, and I've literally never had a head of hair that I've not seen it perform on. I haven't. Now, I will say, like the leave-in conditioner, things like that, it gives moisture, but it doesn't give slip to everyone. But to me, moisture and slip are two totally different things, which leads me to the topic of like silicones and things like that in your products. This is why I don't have issues with silicones. Sometimes silicones are needed. Like for some textures of hair, especially tangle prone hair, you need some slip, and silicone is one of the ways that chemists get slip into your products, so that way you can more easily deal with that hair and not suffer with breakage and things like that. Now, that being said, there are water soluble silicones, and there are silicones that are not easily water soluble. In that instance, you can use a sulfate based shampoo or a clarifying shampoo, and it still removes it from the hair. So I don't know, I feel like silicone, it can cause buildup, yes. It can cause breakage if you're not making sure that you're removing it and keeping your moisture balance high, yes. That does not make silicone bad. That makes improper use of silicone bad, because silicone is not meant to moisturize your hair. A lot of people use it like it's a hair oil, a moisturizer, things like that. It's honestly not. I want you to think of it as a sealant, because that's exactly what it is, and it is an agent of slip. Oh, someone asked earlier, I just reminded me, how Zan's hair likes glycerin, and usually it does like glycerin really well, but glycerin is one of those ingredients that I use in the spring, the summer, and the autumn. I do not use it in winter because there's no moisture in the air. Glycerin, just like aloe vera and many other humectants, is a humectant, and what its job is to do is to draw moisture out of the air and into the hair, and it increases the moisture balance by doing that. That being said, when you are, how can I put it? When you are increasing that moisture balance like that, it's great. But if there's no moisture in the air, it's drawing it from the nearest source. So it's drawing from the hair and back out. And that's why I don't recommend wearing glycerin, things like that in the wintertime, as I described in my hair growth, winter hair growth video. And then I went ahead and did a spring hair growth video where I told you guys what you should be doing to remove some of the buildup from the hair from the winter routine, and to incorporate certain things back in, things that you now can use back, all that. So yes. Let's see here. Miss Cheryl, thank you so much for your donation. I greatly appreciate it, dear. Let's see here. Okay, I am beginning to wind down, you guys, so I'm probably not going to answer a ton more questions, but yes, completely depends on protein balance. Some may need protein, some may overload from protein. Okay, so someone was commenting on protein in here, and I will say every head of hair at some point needs protein. However, comma, space, everyone does not need the same amount of protein or protein at the same time. That is why I try my best to explain it in terms of like with a spaghetti noodle or something like that. So usually if you are working with a spaghetti noodle, and let me see here. Let's go for a walk. Let's walk through the house. Okay, so if you're working with a fabric of hair that has a high amount of protein in it, usually it is like a dry spaghetti noodle. So let me go ahead and grab the pasta, okay? My Aldi's pasta, because they're cheap and so am I. So we have a dry spaghetti noodle here. So it looks flexible and all of that, but the moment that I start to manipulate it, if it has no moisture, it breaks. Dry hair breaks. The same is true if you have too much protein and not enough moisture. Now, if I were to take this same noodle and apply a bit of moisture to it in terms of boiling it for a little while, things like that, it will become supple while still maintaining its strength if I cook it for the right amount of time. Or if I incorporate enough moisture in there. Now, that being said, that will give me more of a flexible strand to work with. Maria Everett, thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. If you are working with, how can I put this? If you're working with that fabric of hair, and this is angel hair pasta, so this would be fine hair, by the way. Thin spaghetti I would classify as normal hair, and then spaghetti I would classify as coarse hair. And the reason why is because the cooking times are different. Same is true for your hair. Now, if I were to put too much moisture into this and not have enough protein left, now it becomes mushy and it shreds and it tears. Your hair is going to do the exact same thing. So it's important to note each head of hair is going to be different based on whether it's fine, medium, or coarse, and based on what it needs, its porosity, all of that. So if your hair is high porosity, you're going to find that you need more moisture on a regular basis, but you're also going to need more protein. If you're putting heat on that hair or any type of chemical on that hair, you're going to need more protein more regularly. She's watching Who Was in here. Child, this room a mess. But yeah, let me get out of here before I get copyrighted for music in the background. Anyway, so yeah, I hope that that kind of helps out with breaking that down for you guys so you can understand what exactly it means to kind of have a proper moisture balance and protein balance, because every head of hair needs protein. I hear so many people that are like, my hair is protein sensitive. Usually that means that, and a lot of products already are formulated with some degree of protein in them. So for many people, they may not need to utilize protein in that hair, but you'll find that usually if you have curly hair and your curls are not popping like they used to, or if your hair seems really stretchy, like let's say you catch a tangle or something and that hair stretches quite a bit and then it pops, usually that's a sign that you need some protein. If you are working with that hair and it's breaking off in little pieces on a regular basis and it's dry or it feels hard, usually that's a sign that you need moisture. In a lot of instances, you'll see where people need both. And in that instance, what we'll do is we'll do in the industry what we call cocktailing, which is where you are taking both a moisturizing conditioner or a moisturizing mask and a protein conditioner or a protein mask, mixing them together and putting those in the hair so that way you're able to see that improvement in the hair and the hair's texture, all that type of stuff. So yes, that's what's going on there. Miss Angela Lee, thank you so much for your donation. I greatly appreciate you, dear. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits for this video because we've been on here for a long periodically time, and I promised Zan that we would play Yahtzee today, which by the way is a great way to encourage and incorporate math where it feels like fun so they don't realize that you're going through teaching activities. So just tuck that in your little back pocket there. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to getting your feedback. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on future posts on Mondays and Thursdays in the morning, usually around 7:45 Central Standard Time in the US. I don't know what that is for wherever you are, but wherever it is, look for us because YouTube be playing about notifications. And I hope that you learned something, that you guys benefited from this video. I greatly appreciate you guys. If I could do one-on-ones with you guys all the time, I would. And honestly, if it feels like this would be a great time to do it for us all to be stuck in the house. However, comma space during the workday, I'm supposed to be working, and today I'm technically off because it's a holiday for the school. So look at God, Shotoboko Robobobo. Okay, anyway, so let me stop playing before the Lord strike me down. Okay, until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, and stay glam. You know I love you, boo. I appreciate all of you, whether you ask questions, left comments, supportive comments, whether you donated, whatever the case may be, just know that I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so thankful for you. Please, if you find value in any of our videos, please share, and take care. God bless and stay glam. And before I go, Wesley926, thank you so much for your donation. You guys take care. You know I love you, boo. Bye. How do I do it? How just click here?